What's up everyone, welcome to this video where I break down a trade that passed my funding challenge in a single trade. And in this video, I will break down my thought process, I'll break down step by step what I was feeling, what I was thinking, so that you can also repeat this in your own trading and make some money with this information. Now if that sounds interesting to you, let's dive right into the video. Good morning everyone, welcome to a trade breakdown where I break down a trade where I basically took $200 of risk and pretty much bought here and sold for about $3,000 of reward and passed my funding challenge in a single trade. And as you can see, that is the proof right there. That's 2.7. The same trade, by the way, as you can see, it's very close by, and $3,000 of profit, passed the 50k funding challenge in a single trade. Just to show you the execution, that is where I bought and that is where I sold. Now, I knew it was going to go higher, but the reason I didn't hold was because, well, simply put, I didn't need it. I already passed my funding challenge, so we'll just leave it at that. Now, coming back to the trade breakdown, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about the entry. I'm going to talk about the exit criteria. I'm going to break down my thought process throughout this whole trade so that hopefully you can also replicate this in your own trading. And I'll also reflect on some things that I can improve on. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, we always have to start off on the higher timeframes. But what I saw on the higher timeframes was basically ignore this candle here because that was a candle yesterday. At the point of this candle right here, I knew that we are so close to this liquidity point right here that it wouldn't make sense not to sweep it. And this will become much more apparent on the 4-hourly chart. So at the time before this big expansion, we were, I think, around here, right? Maybe this down candle. Yeah, Friday 5 p.m. So yeah, exactly here. And you had liquidity right here at, 307. And if you look just a tiny bit behind, you can also see, maybe right there. But the place I was aiming for was here, right? At 390. And so with this, you already have your higher time frame bias. So you know that Monday, once it opens up, you're so close to this level that it wouldn't make sense not to sweep it during Monday. So that's that, right? We already established direction. Now, secondly, where would you look to buy? So what I was looking at was, I remember I did this all the night before. And if you guys don't have like a pre-night routine, basically just after the end of the trading day, just look up your levels and just study your charts and see, where you can find an opportunity the next day, like a high probability opportunity. Like when you do this, your job the next day becomes so much easier, because I remember I was feeling like just in complete bliss. Once I took this trade here, just went on with my day, right? I'm traveling in Italy at the moment, and I took this trade, went to shower, went out for breakfast, went out for lunch. It was a very easygoing time. And I remember in the past, I did not feel that way with my trading, where in the morning it was a lot of a guessing game and I was scrambling to look up multiple different charts and try to figure out which one's the best one to trade, try to figure out the levels, try to figure out the bias, all in the same time. And let me tell you, that is not very conducive for profitable trading. The moment I started just spending maybe 15-20 minutes the night before just checking up the levels, next day wake up, I see it, boom, take it, bam, easy. So for me, this purple line here was the monthly open, and when I saw that monthly open level, I just went back to the weekly chart. You already got a displacement here, so it's very likely that you would retrace just back to the monthly open and then expansion, right? That is just a power 3. And so that was the level that I was looking at personally. And once that level got hit in the morning, and I'll show you now on a lower time frame, once that level got hit at exactly 2 a.m, right? 2 a.m, you sweep the liquidity. And this will become much more clear later when I talk about the entry criteria. But at 2 a.m. exactly, which is my entry window and the entry window that I teach you guys, which is between 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and then just move on. Don't trade it until, like, if you miss the opportunity between 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, then just skip it. Wait until roughly 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. You're going to have another opportunity there. Usually it's going to be 8:30 or 9:30. So that's that. And yeah, and Monday is usually the opening range. So the Monday move is one of my favorite moves, period, because it's really clean. Like Monday tends to just go in one straight direction. Same as Monday, right? Once you catch the low of the day, and usually that comes during the London session, once you catch the low of the day, it's just like this easy sailing, just really nice move. And of course, if I can go back to a couple of more examples, this was Monday. Yeah, Monday, the moment, look at that, at 3 a.m, you get the low of the day, and it's just easy selling all the way up. And so if you catch the Monday direction correct, such as this, right, at exactly 3 a.m., you get the high of the day. I talk about the opening range a lot. Once you get the high of the day, boom, right? It's very clean, very aggressive, very volatile. Again, it is the opening range, right? You're setting the tone for the week. So usually Monday tends to be a pretty volatile move. So that's Monday. So I was already expecting, like the night before, I was already building the narrative that, okay, Asia's probably going to open below the daily open, Asia's manipulation, and then at 2 a.m. you're going to get some kind of liquidity sweep. Now, I didn't like picture it this perfectly, but I just knew I wanted to buy around the monthly open, and I knew that the price was going to be going to the monthly open sometime while I was asleep. And once I woke up, I saw that, boom, take it, just ride the wave. And I think I rode the wave for about, I closed it at my time 6:30 p.m. So that was roughly before 12 a.m. So just right there, that's where I closed it. So now that you guys have the big picture, and this is how you do a big picture, by the way, just coming up with the bias, looking at the news for the day. There was no news for this day, and yeah, just preparing beforehand with your key levels. And now let's get into the actual execution, and for that I need to go on to the 5-minute because that's where I did it on. So 5-minute at exactly 2 a.m. exactly 2 a.m. monthly open. Yeah, so as you can see, the moment you wake up, or rather, the moment I woke up, I saw that Asia had created lots of relatively equal lows at around this area. And the beautiful thing about 2 a.m. is that it is the London open manipulation window. So you know that you always expect manipulation to happen around the 2 a.m. window. And once you get that, right, manipulation means what? Liquidity sweeps, a Judah swing, a turtle soup, a false breakout, whatever. That tends to happen during the 2 a.m. session. Once you get that, and usually what I teach you guys is to not take any trades until 3 a.m. So in this case, you can see that 3 a.m. actually reversed into a fair value gap right here where you could have taken the trade, which is actually where I took my second position. If you can see there, I took the first one on the initial liquidity sweep, and then the second one at around 3 a.m. once you came back into this fair value gap right there. See, both of those were the bottoms, and then it just took off. So for most of you, I highly recommend trading just the 3 a.m. session, because if you try to trade a 2 a.m. session, you run into an issue like I did this morning where, I just lost a couple of trades for no reason because I was a bit hasty. Although I didn't really lose much. It was just 0.2% down on the account. But anyways, right here at 2 a.m. you get the liquidity sweep, and it was just a very short-lived move before just a lot of shenanigans, and then the true move starts after 3:15, which today there is news for the Euro USD during 3:15 a.m. and also 3:30 a.m. So you see the large majority of the move just happens at this time. And yeah, lesson learned. Most of the time, stick to that second hour of the session opening. You're going to have way more success. But in this case, the reason why I took this trade just right after the sweep was because I already had the narrative built in mind, right? There is no more liquidity for the market makers to sweep heading into Monday. And I know that Monday, just based off of the profiling that I've done in the past, Monday tends to be a very clean move. Once you get a low of the day, it tends to just, take off. Not really much retracing. Monday is called the opening range day, so I knew what to expect. And for that reason, like every day is different, by the way, don't get me wrong. Like I wouldn't do this on, say, a Tuesday, and I definitely wouldn't do this on, say, Tuesday, specifically Tuesday. Very important. I also probably wouldn't do this on Wednesday if there is news. But again, Monday as a profile, as a day, this is very common for Monday. So coming back to the trade, no more liquidity below. So once you get the sweep, I had already built the narrative in mind. I already knew what level I was going to buy at. Once a level gets hit, it's a pretty quick, straightforward decision. And then secondly, I was a bit concerned when I saw this dump here, because I'm like, is it just going to be like a liquidity sweep and then down? And the only thing, and I actually felt this way for, a few more times during the day. I remember feeling like that at this dump here. I kid you not, I was very close to pulling the trigger, like just closing the trade at this exact level here. I kid you not, and exactly at this time. And I'm glad I didn't, because this is what happened next. It just comes back to having a bias, having done your research, having built your narrative, and then having the conviction to stay with it and just be patient, because the market's going to do its thing, and the market's very good at stopping people out and making them panic at the lows before pumping it after everyone has, panic sold. This is very common. This is what the market makers do for a living. So the only way that you're going to combat that is to have a bias for the day, have a narrative, have a plan for what you expect to happen and what you will do at every given situation. For me, the plan was very clear. Monday opening range, I was looking for at least a 70 pip move, which yesterday was actually a 100 pip day. And yeah, just having the conviction to stay with it. And also, like, when you go long at this position here and you're all the way up here, you're already deep into profits, right? one other way that you can think about it, which has helped me a lot in my trading, is that once the price is all the way up here, is there a way that the price would come back to your entry and even stop you out? And chances are not really, because at the time, and in this initial window here, it was the gap time between London and New York, right? As you can see, this is 5 a.m. and that's 7 a.m. In the gap time, there tends to be a rebalancing of liquidity, or rather an engineering of liquidity for the London opening move, which occurs at 8:30. So, sorry, the New York opening move, which occurs at 8:30. So I already knew like this was just some engineering liquidity, and maybe this is just a short range before the move continues, explodes again during the New York morning, which it did, right? 8:30, you reverse, you sweep all the sell side liquidity, and then 9:30, boom, expand all the way until 12 p.m. In this case, that's 12 p.m. right there. Super clean move. But yeah, just having a bias and understanding the timing windows and how things like to play into each other really helps you to keep your conviction. Because here's the thing that you guys need to realize, it's that like you don't make money from taking a lot of small trades. Like if you can see from my Discord, this is the screenshot that I posted. Like my wins are always huge. Like I'll lose a lot of small trades in between. Don't get me wrong, these two, like this US, like this Euro US trade here, these three were the same trade, and that was a pretty big loss. It was a pretty big loss because yeah, it's about like $900. I will do a breakdown on that, but it was just a silly mistake. There's not much to talk about it. But when you do win, right, you win big, and you need trades like this, because imagine if you were trading this and you just got your account up 8 or 10% in a single day on Monday. You're pretty much done for the week. Like you do not even need to trade the rest of the week, and everything else is just a cherry on top. But how do you get to these trades in the first place? It's by having trades that you have done your research on, that you have high conviction on. So high conviction that you are willing to put big money behind it. If you realize, I had a 50k account. I only have 10x leverage. I pretty much put the entire account on this trade. The entire account long on this trade. And even at that point, I only had a $200 risk. I mean, like I went long here and my stop loss was here, right? This is like a textbook picture perfect trade in my book. And that's why I'm doing a video about it. And hence why this breakdown might be pretty long, but you guys are going to learn a lot from this. Like the best trades, like the only way you're going to be able to grow your account is not necessarily, like some people make it work with just like catching small moves here and there, catching small moves here and there. Like if that fits you, go for it. But for me, like it's got to be catching 80 pips out of a 100 pip day, or 90 pips out of or like 40 pips out of a 50 pip day, right? That's what I look for. And the only way that you're going to be able to catch trades like this is to have trades where you have high conviction and exact entry criteria, and then just having the balls to stick with your conviction and having the patience to wait for the market to do its thing. And it helps a lot to understand how the market behaves during certain timing windows. For example, 2 a.m. that's a manipulation window, 3 a.m. that's continuation, and then in between that's going to be engineering liquidity. 8:30, usually 8:30 continues to move, but yesterday was a bit of a engineering liquidity day, and 9:30 you definitely continue to move because that's the futures market open, and boom, very straightforward. So yeah, what I mean to say is just the next time you get really concerned about a trade and you can't seem to get it off of your mind, it could just be that you haven't done enough research. Number 2, you are risking too much money that you cannot afford to lose. And number 3, you just don't have enough conviction on it in general. And if that is the case, maybe you should consider actually closing the trade. But of course, this will all come with experience, and the more experience you get under your belt, the more you will realize what constitutes a good trade and what constitutes a high conviction trade. And when you get high conviction trades, they don't come around very often, but when you get it, that is a cue that you must go big size. I'm talking doubling, tripling, or even quadrupling your usual risk. For me, 4.7 lots was all I could go for, but if I had the ability, if my account had more than 10x leverage, I would have went for 10 lots, and that would have been doubling of my usual risk. And instead of a 3k day, it could have easily been a 10k day, because yesterday was a 100 pip move. Okay, so that was the entry criteria. So if you missed the morning move, this is just another note. If you missed the morning move, just wait till 8:30 or 9:30. You will almost always get, like 99% of the case, you will get another opportunity to get into the markets. And so yeah, that's a sweep, 2 a.m. Up, and then the second opportunity at the fair value gap. That's where I deploy the rest of my capital. And again, look for 3 a.m. for high probability moves. That's where you get it. And then exit criteria was very simply, I already did my research on the high time frame, so I knew that this would be around the area where I would want to sell, at around this area here. And the only reason I sold a bit higher than my initial target was because, well, I needed this to get to 3k and pass the funding challenge in a single trade. For any reason other than that, I would have just held until it showed signs of reversal, which occurred this morning actually. And yeah, things that I can improve on. Again, it's just, for me, it's like I already executed this trade pretty perfectly, but if there's one thing I can improve on, it's just having more conviction in myself. Especially after you go through a trade, like a losing streak like this, where you lost one big trade, it's not a big deal, right? It's a silly mistake. You guys will know once I make the video on it, but it's a silly mistake. And you lose a couple of trades, your account is bracket break even. Maybe your confidence is a little shaken. And sometimes you just need to tell yourself that you know what you're doing as a trader and believe in yourself. For me, it's just having more conviction and being able to believe in myself because I know what I'm doing, and not to doubt myself when you get these kinds of movements. And if that's the only thing that I improve on, it's that, because everything else checks out. This is pretty much a textbook picture perfect trade. Now, if you're at this point of the video and you're still watching, it's clear that you're someone who's serious about their improvement and serious about making trading work. If you've been struggling with making trading work for you, maybe it's a bit too complicated, there is way too much information, or maybe you can sort of see what's happening on the chart, but you struggle to turn those ideas into proper trades with profits, or maybe you want to get started trading but you just don't really know where to start, then I'm here to tell you that Trading Ascension, which is my private mentorship, takes on 8 students per month. And if you're interested in taking a proven step-by-step fast track to getting to 10K per month trading, or simply to make huge progress in your trading, then I invite you to click the link in the description box below, and I'll see you inside Trading Ascension. Bye bye.